Welcome to WP-Tonic, episode 90. That's a big one, 90. Coming up on 100. Okay, welcome to WP-Tonic. Here we are. We're going to talk about SEO and how it fits into the funnel. I've got Jonathan here. We had one of our guests today who was supposed to show up has laryngitis. So it's just going to be Jonathan and me, and we've got a group of pages we can look at. So if you're listening on podcast, you can also come up with WP-Tonic or go over to, I guess it's mostly just WP-Tonic this show today. Oh, also Podcaster's Home. I'll probably put over in Podcaster's Home on the blog so they can find it there too. And you'll see the pictures behind this on the YouTube video. So Jonathan, local SEO, really important with the funnel. Why is that?
Well, because if you don't get people can't find you through Google, they're not going to be able to go to your nice landing page and sign up for your nice newsletter. And all that hard work that we discussed last week is going to be for nothing really, Bill, isn't it?
That's right.
And most businesses, unless you're web-based, are local, aren't they, Bill?
That's right. Hey, do you have your your Blab up right now?
My Blab?
Yeah, we're on Blab. We're on Blab too.
Oh, God, I need to switch that off. The
no,
sound.
you don't have to. You just have to take off the sound.
Right. So, we're on multiple. If you're listening to the podcast, folks, we're on multiple channels. Let's talk about local, because most businesses are local, aren't they, Bill? You know, they've got a local clientele of some shape or form.
Unless you're a digital guy.
Yeah. If you're in a big city or a smaller city like Reno, or you're in Denver, or you're in Sacramento, your business is probably local or regional. So local SEO is important, because if you don't get people can't find your service or product on your website, they won't be able to find your website. But local search, folks, is a little bit different than national search. It's a bit like going back. It's a bit like email marketing, folks. You know, coding up a email template is like going back to the early 90s when it comes to coding. And when it comes to local search, you're going back into history a little bit. Why do I say that, folks? Well, directories are important when it comes to local search, folks. And what do I mean by directories? Well, Yellow Pages, Merchant Circle, that type of directory. Who really uses them now? I've got to be frank, I don't. But if you want to come up in local search, you need to have the same name, address, business hours, all your details of your business needs to be consistent throughout all these directories. And you can do it manually, but it takes up a lot of time, folks. And B, if you're doing a lot, you're probably going to make a lot of mistakes. You just are. These mistakes can be quite damaging, Bill. So to get around there are half a dozen services. If you do a search under local directory input or something like that, some of these services to come up. One that I found to be the most competitive, that's from a recognizable brand, is Moz, M-O-Z, Moz.com. And they do a product called Moz Local. And you put your business name in and your zip code. It checks the listing, and then you can sign up. I don't know what they're charging per year. It used to be around $70. And
I think it's more than that.
It's more than that now, is it?
Let's look.
He's looking, folks.
Hold on a second. I'm just checking the business.
Yep. He's looking, folks, and I think it's still one of the cheaper solutions around. And see, they found my co-host Bill Conrad's wife's. They found that there are some other services that can do this for you, but they're more expensive. Do a search, and it'll be in our notes on the WP-Tonic website. Basically, you fill in one form, and basically they push it to all these different free directory websites, and they make sure that the information is consistent amongst all. Doesn't happen instantaneous. It can tick over. It looks like it's about $84.
That's not too bad. Now, yeah. So tell me what local management, reporting, data exporting, and distribution insight.
Yeah. So the others are quite more expensive, and there's some that offer it to do it a little bit cheaper, but then I wouldn't trust them really. They've got no brand recognition. So have a look at that, folks. So that's one of the big differences between national, regional, and local. These directories, because like I said before, if you've got a national, it's a digital product, you just wouldn't bother with this. Now let's go to the second one, folks.
Jonathan, quick question on Moz. When they go down at the bottom, they talk about reputation insight, and they have Foursquare, Super Pages, Yellow Pages, Yelp, Google, and Facebook.
Yep, they do a bit of that as well.
What are they actually doing there for reputation management? Just monitoring and sending you stuff when it pops, do you think?
I have no idea, actually, Bill. The last time I used them, they weren't offering that. So I think they just make sure you're registered, and that account is set up. But I can't believe they're doing any more than that. But if you don't have an account set up, nobody can probably set a review, can they?
Right.
So that's a bit of a problem. That's the other thing that Bill's brought up, a really good point. I'm going to go the review sites like Yelp. What was some of the others, Bill?
Yelp, we got Yellow Pages, Super Pages, Foursquare, Google, and Facebook.
Yeah, Foursquare. They're all sites that you can probably leave reviews, and Google does look at reviews.
Your average Yelp score. So Google score. It's like it's a dashboard or something.
Google looks at reviews as content, folks. It sees it as business that has good reviews or bad reviews. Google treats it as independent content, so it indexes it, folks. So let's go on to the second main difference that you should know about, folks, because you want to get people to this funnel, and you want them to sign up for stuff or do something on your website. Now, you spent a lot of time and money on your WordPress website, and you want to get some payback. So the second thing is Google Local. They change the name regularly, folks, but I think I'm correct in saying you've got to have a Gmail account and you've got to have a Google profile. So basically, you go in and you link your Google profile to a Google Local page, and then you basically fill in the page they give you. And folks, fill it in completely. Fill it in as much detail as you can. Have a nice bio. Fill in the bio area. Make sure all your details match up with the same details that you put in if you're using Moz and their local service. Make sure that everything matches. Make sure you put the right telephones, the opening hours. Put in a detailed bio which you write. Don't skimp on that. Upload some nice photos. You can even upload video. And maybe once a month after you've posted it on your website, you post the same post on your Google Local page. It doesn't hurt. It's duplicate content, but Google, if you do it like that, Google won't penalise you. Mm-hmm. So set all that up. You also need a physical address, folks. A post office box won't do it. Google won't have it. And then you got to verify that you actually own the business. They're going to send a card to the physical address that you put in, and that card will have a 5-digit number, and you've got to put that digit in and verify that you own it. This is really important, folks. Bing do a similar thing, and I would do that as well. Can't hurt. Just make sure that it's all the same content. How does that sound, Bill?
Sounds fine. If you're watching on our site, I've been playing around with the local guide, some information, and snapping it for the YouTube version. That's very good, Jonathan. We're at 7 or 8 minutes. About another minute, we'll take a break.
So let's quickly talk about Google Search Console. That was originally called Google Webmaster Tools. And this is a specific thing if you own a WordPress website. Yoast, if you're using the Yoast SEO plugin, and a lot of people do, it's not activated automatically. You do have to go into Yoast and activate it. They will set up a sitemap XML file for you. It's not a sceneable sitemap. That's a totally different thing. It's a sitemap that helps Google index your website. utilizing their bolts. So it sets that up. I personally, Yoast uses a slightly unusual way of producing that sitemap. I personally don't activate it. I use a third-party plugin. One thing I want to point out, you don't want the two running at the same time. You don't want to activate that part of Yoast and then use a third-party plugin. That will really confuse things. The other thing I want to point out, folks, in general settings, there's a setting that tells Google and the leading search engines not to index your WordPress website. I've done it and everybody has done it. I've left that on a client's website by mistake. And when it's live, ready to go, you've got to have a checklist, and that needs to be on the checklist to actually deactivate that, so it will allow Google to search your website. It's just a little tip there, folks. Do that, because loads of people can forget that. So basically, then you need to go to Google Search Console and set up an account.
Hey, Jonathan, one thing is on WordPress, it's defaulted to search. So unless you've turned it off, you don't worry about it. I mean, but you do need to find where that is and check it. But
yeah,
don't run out right now and get upset. But
do check it.
Turn that off.
Do check it, because it's best when you're in development mode to have it switched on, so because you don't really, you might be mucking around with a permanent link structure and doing other things, and you don't really want Google to index it until you're ready. So
when does Google indexes once a day?
That's part of the settings in Yoast and the others. You can tell Google through a number of settings how often you want them to index it, Bill. So the other thing is it's very similar to Google Local. You got to tell Google that you actually own that domain. And I will tell you the process after our break, folks. So we're going for our break first.
Sounds good, Jonathan. Want to turn your WordPress website into an online speed machine? Go on over to WP-Tonic. They'll set up DigitalOcean websites hosting on solid-state drives. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for WP-Tonic's maintenance packages. WP-Tonic offers some of the very best WordPress maintenance packages on the market. So those who are serious about getting the very best platform for their WordPress sites, make sure you go on over to WP-Tonic.com. Okay, let's get back to the show.
When you set up your Google Search Console, you've got to then tell Google that you actually own the domain name. You can either go in and set up, it's not a record, but you have to go into your C panel, and it's part of your DNS. You've got to set up CNAX record. That's not the easiest way to do it. There's two ways that I normally do it. You can download a physical file, and then if you've got FTP access, you upload it to the root of your directory. That's one way. Another way, it gives a meta tag with a unique ID number, and there's a couple WordPress plugins. If you do Google Console, Google Webmaster Tools, there's about half a dozen that come up. There's one I can't remember, but you just need to read the reviews. And I normally
you can drop them in Yoast too, and just call it a day.
I don't think Yoast gives you the ability to put the Google code in. Actually,
in Webmaster Tools, they got the Google Search Console checklist. That's what they have now. That's what I've done. Yeah. It's got generally your information. Webmaster Tools. You can got Alexa, Bing, Google, and Yang.
Oh yeah, it will link. It will link to your Google. But this is rectifying that you actually are the owner of the domain. It doesn't do.
Oh, it doesn't do the owner. So if you put it in the header or the footer, it would probably find it though, right?
No, there's a little plugin. If you do a search under the WordPress repository, there's a number of little plugins that will look for the one that's been updated.
What should I search? Plugin with verification?
No, Webmaster Tools. Google Webmaster Tools. So that's how I do it if I haven't got FTP access to the client's website. So I do that. So, and then in the Webmaster Console, you click a green button, and if you get a green tick, it's communicated with your website and it's identified that you're the owner of the domain name. So that's that process. And then you go in, and under one of the sub-tabs, you select sitemap, and it then under the domain name backstroke, you can give it the address of where the sitemap.xml file is on your website. It should be in the main root. That's where. Well, I say that Yoast gives a slightly different address because it puts it into a subfolder. So be aware of that. You need to check that.
So on this, like this Google Analytics Webmaster Tools, you just plug that in, verify it, then throw it out. It's the rarefied Google Webmaster tool, which is the fourth one. This one, that one, yeah. See, Bill's showing us a screenshot, folks, if you're listening to the podcast, and that's the one I normally use. It's the fourth one on the right. That's the one I use, Verified Google Webmaster Tools. It's been going last updated 2 years ago, but it doesn't really matter because it hasn't changed much, and it works. And you just throw it away, though, right? When you're done, you just uninstall it.
Yeah. If you're not going to use that, you might as well get rid of it, right? So it does one thing and does it well, and it's simple. But so you can do that. So that's got your site, and then Google will index it, and it will flag up any kind of 404 problems. You might have to do some 302 permanent redirects, that type of stuff. It's a good little tool, Bill.
Sounds good.
So so basically you're getting your site indexed, you're filled in all these directories. Then basically the brutal fact, folks, is, especially when it comes to local search, is that you really do need to try and get something from these people that come into your website if you can. And it's normally their email address that you're trying to get, if they're not actually going to buy a product. Why is this important, folks? Because the brutal fact is that almost 80% of the people that visit your website will never come back. Having it linked to special offers, some inducement that you're going to send them a really great quarterly special offer, having a really good pop-up maybe when that shows if they leave the home page, especially if they're leaving the home page, having a pop-up that has a really great special offer might be a really good idea if you're a local business, Bill, because then you might be able to get their email details, and then you then be able to continue that relationship and market to those people. Right, that's why having a good funnel and a good pop-up is probably almost as important for a local business, Bill, and needs to be thought about. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense, Bill?
Right, and we've got Opt-in Monster up right now looking at it, which I think is one of the best values out there.
It is, especially if you go for the yearly. Try it out for a few months. It's not the cheapest on the monthly. Try and buy the yearly. The pro version, I think, offers the best value because they're giving you about a 35+ discount. But for a really small business, it might be. But there are some other cheaper, which we've discussed last Saturday. There are some other that do reasonable pop-ups that are a bit cheaper. And I'll probably put those alternatives in the show notes that will be on the WP-Tonic website, folks. So if you go to the website and look at the notes, I'm going to put some cheaper alternatives to Opt-in Monster. But if you can afford Opt-in Monster, I agree with Bill. It's one of the more classier products. So that, have I explained why even for a local business, it's probably having a good, especially if it's set up to show if the people are leaving the home page. Why? But on the other hand, if you're getting a lot of people leaving your home page almost straight away, folks, it suggests two things. Either you're showing up in search for the wrong things, and your webmaster console will give you a list of the words that Google indexes your site the most. It gives you how it sees. If that list is really very different to what you want Googled, you probably got some problems with the content and the way the site is set up. And that's probably one of the reasons why people are bouncing off, because they're expecting to see something which they're not seeing, Bill. The second reason, folks, is that probably the copy, the core message of your home page isn't that enticing. So you really, if you do see a lot of bounce is classified of them spending less than 3 seconds on your web home page, folks, and not bothering going to one of the internal pages. Another thing, folks, where it comes to local search is having a big phone number or having your contact numbers really very prominent on the home page. Basically, you get a lot of people search your website, especially if you're a local business, Bill, just to find your contact details. So having them really in your header or in your sidebar or somewhere and having them very, very large is a really good idea, Bill.
That's right. Let's look at Karen's.
So Bill's bringing up his beloved Karen's website. So that's just a tip. It applies to almost all websites, but when it comes to local, folks, it should be one of the biggest things on your local website, your phone number or your contact.
On this too, I've got her phone number up here, but I really should put her. Let's see if I got her in contact about.
Yeah, he's looking at his wife's website.
It's down here for her cell phone, but it really should be more common.
It should be right in the header, and I would have it where Chase is. I would have it underneath Chase.
I could make this Chase. This is actually the logo right here, so I could
manipulate it and have your phone number underneath it. Having a big phone number, folks, is really important when you're dealing with a local business, and it's one of the things where when you're designing a website or helping a customer, where it's a little bit different than maybe a national website but that depends on what they're selling. If it's e-commerce or something, they don't actually want people to ring them up too much. They want to do it by email because it costs. But a local business is different. So how are we doing for time, Bill?
We've got one more minute here. Anything else? Let me look at anything. We talked lead pages. Let's talk about lead pages for a second. That's another good one for a page builder and landing page.
Yes. Basically, if you want to set another thing, if you're doing any kind of AdWords, Google AdWords or Facebook advertisement, you do not want the people to be sent to your home page. If you're paying money for paid advertisement, you want to set up a specific landing page for that advertisement. You can then tell how many people went to their website, and there is technology that will track the people and tell you how many times they came back, and also you can set up a specific landing page for that campaign, Bill. A really much cheaper alternative than lead pages, specifically aimed for WordPress folks, is Fry Themes. We've had Shane, the CEO of Fry Themes, on the show a few months ago, and they provide a plug-in landing page system. You go to frythemes.com, have a look at it. I would highly recommend it, folks.
That's a good value. That's right.
Yeah, Fry Themes. So I think we're coming to the end of the show. Yep. What do you reckon, Bill? Did I do a good job?
Yep, you did a good job. Remember, Saturday morning at 8:30 Pacific, we'll be going over 3 or 4 websites, and we'll be doing it on the Blab, but we'll also connect it into Google Plus Hangouts so you can see those reviews.
Yeah. So what we're doing, folks, we're having one of our co-hosts, John Locke. I'm going to be talking about local search in more detail. We'll be taking your questions about local search live on the show, and also we'll be doing some site reviews. So if you found this episode interesting and you want to learn more about local search, specifically applied to your own site, join us on Blab at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturday.
It's a good way to finish. Just FYI, we have John Walsh watching over on Blab. Thank you, John. But he's also helps local businesses promote themselves online using video marketing and social networks. We didn't really talk about that, the video marketing and social. It's Google Plus, another way to get SEO off the Google Plus and YouTube.
Yeah, that all sounds great, Bill. I've got to be off now, Bill.
Okay, me too. Buying or selling a home in the greater Reno Tahoe area? I know the best CRS real estate broker, and that's Karen Conrad. And you can find her at KarenConrad.com or call her directly at 775-527-7021.